나만 제 두려울 게 없어. 꿈을 향해 나아가 길을 밝혀줄 거야. 용기와 힘으로 무엇도 날 막을 순 없어. 매일이 모험, 매 순간이 특별해. 자, 출발하자. 망설이지 마. 인생은 모험이야. 마음껏 즐겨. 두려움은 뒤로 하고 앞으로 나가. 오늘도 내일도 우리 함께 가자. 도전은 나의 친구, 실패도 내 고향. 넘어지면 다시 일어나 꿈꾸는 게 재능. 바람이 불어와도 내 길은 변함없어. 파도를 뚫고 나가 언제나 용감해. 자, 출발하자. 망설이지 마. 인생은 모험이야. 마음껏 즐겨. 두려움은 뒤로 하고 앞으로 나가. 오늘도 내일도 우리 함께 가자. 기쁨과 슬픔 모두 내게 소중해. 단 한 번의 삶 후회 없이 달려. 별이 빛나는 밤도 우리와 함께야. 미래를 향해 다 같이 노래해. 자, 출발하자. 망설이지 마. 인생은 모험이야. 마음껏 즐겨. 두려움은 뒤로 하고 앞으로 나가. 오늘도 내일도 우리 함께 가자.
Zack was never one for crowds. He was quiet, always observing. He preferred his own company, lost in thought and daydreams. But something changed when Zack saw the other kids playing soccer after school. The energy, the teamwork, the sheer joy on their faces as they chased the ball. It sparked something in Zack. He felt a pull, a yearning to be a part of that world, a world beyond his own thoughts. One day, mustering all his courage, Zack approached the group. He was hesitant at first, unsure of how to fit in, but the other kids, welcoming and encouraging, immediately included him in their game. That day, under the warm glow of the setting sun, Zack discovered a passion he never knew he had. The soccer field became his haven, a place where he felt truly alive. Zack's newfound passion wasn't without its challenges. He was naturally shy and unsure of himself. He found it difficult to communicate with his teammates, to express himself on the field. He often stumbled, his passes lacked power, and his shots on goal were easily saved. Disappointment settled in, and Zack began to question if he truly belonged. At home, things weren't easy either. His parents, struggling to make ends meet, couldn't always afford new shoes or the proper equipment. Zack often felt like he was already at a disadvantage. The joy he had initially found began to wane, replaced by a growing sense of self-doubt. Zack found himself at a crossroads, unsure if he had the strength to continue. One afternoon, after a particularly disheartening practice, Zack confided in his grandfather, a man who always seemed to have a piece of wisdom to share. Zack had been struggling with his performance on the soccer field, feeling like he was letting his team down. The pressure was mounting, and he didn't know how to cope. His grandfather, a retired coach, had seen it all before. He knew the weight of expectations and the sting of failure. He had always been a pillar of strength for Zack, offering guidance and support whenever it was needed. He listened patiently as Zack poured out his heart. Zack spoke of his fears, his frustrations, and his doubts. He felt like he was at a crossroads, unsure of which path to take. His grandfather's presence was comforting, a reminder that he wasn't alone in his struggles. The old man had a way of making Zack feel heard and understood, no matter how trivial his concerns might seem. His grandfather, with a knowing smile, placed a hand on Zack's shoulder. It was a simple gesture, but it spoke volumes. It was a promise of support, a silent assurance that Zack could overcome whatever obstacles lay in his path. The old man had faced his own share of challenges in life, and he knew that resilience was key. "Zack," he said, "life is like a game of soccer. There will be falls, missed shots, and moments of doubt, but it's what you do after the fall that defines you." His words were a reminder that failure was not the end, but rather a stepping stone to success. He spoke of the importance of perseverance, of getting back up after every fall, and of learning from each mistake. Zack took his grandfather's words to heart. He realized that giving up wasn't the answer. He had to find a way to rise above his challenges, to push himself harder, to believe in himself. It was a moment of clarity, a turning point in his journey. He understood that his struggles were not a sign of weakness, but an opportunity to grow stronger. His grandfather's words resonated deeply within Zack. They ignited a spark of determination, a resolve to prove himself. He knew that the road ahead would not be easy, but he was ready to face it head-on. He was determined to turn his setbacks into comebacks, to transform his doubts into confidence. He realized that giving up wasn't the answer. He had to find a way to rise above his challenges, to push himself harder, to believe in himself. He decided to channel his frustration into motivation, to use his failures as fuel for his ambition. He was ready to put in the work, to dedicate himself to his craft. He had to find a way to rise above his challenges, to push himself harder, to believe in himself. With renewed determination, Zack dedicated himself to improving. He knew that success would not come overnight, but he was willing to put in the time and effort. He set new goals for himself, focusing on the areas where he needed the most improvement. With renewed determination, Zack dedicated himself to improving. He practiced tirelessly, honing his skills. He spent hours on the field, working on his technique, his stamina, and his mental toughness. He pushed himself to the limit, determined to become the best player he could be. He practiced tirelessly, honing his skills. He worked on his passing, his shooting, his footwork. He knew that every aspect of his game needed to be sharp if he wanted to succeed. He studied the game, learning from his mistakes and seeking advice from his coaches and teammates. He worked on his passing, ensuring that each pass was accurate and well-timed. He knew that good passing was crucial to maintaining possession and creating scoring opportunities. He practiced different types of passes, from short, quick passes to long, strategic ones. His shooting, making sure that each shot was powerful and precise. He spent hours perfecting his technique, aiming for different parts of the goal. He knew that a good striker needed to be able to score from any position, and he was determined to become a reliable goal scorer. He also focused on his footwork, working on his agility and balance. He practiced dribbling, making sure that he could maneuver the ball with ease and confidence. Even his communication with his teammates. He understood that soccer was a team sport and good communication was key to success. He worked on building trust and understanding with his teammates, making sure that they were all on the same page. He learned to read the game better, anticipating his teammates' moves and making quick decisions. Through hard work and dedication, Zack began to see improvements in his game. He felt more confident, more in control. He knew that he still had a long way to go, but he was ready for the challenge. With his grandfather's words echoing in his mind, he was determined to keep pushing forward, to keep striving for greatness. Weeks of relentless practice later, the day of Zack's first real match arrived. The anticipation had been building up for days, and Zack could hardly sleep the night before. He had spent countless hours on the field, perfecting his skills, and now it was time to put everything he had learned to the test. The morning sun cast a golden hue over the stadium, and the air was filled with the scent of freshly cut grass. Zack could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on him, but he was determined to rise to the occasion. He was both excited and terrified. The butterflies in his stomach were relentless, fluttering with a mix of anticipation and anxiety. He had dreamt of this moment for so long, and now that it was here, the reality of it all was overwhelming. He could see his teammates warming up, each one focused and ready. The crowd was beginning to fill the stands, their murmurs and cheers creating a symphony of sound that echoed through the stadium. Zack took a deep breath, trying to calm his racing heart. This was his chance to prove himself, to show everyone what he was capable of. He had worked tirelessly for this moment, pushing through the pain and exhaustion, driven by a burning desire to succeed. His coach had always believed in him, and now it was time to repay that faith. As he joined his teammates in a huddle, he felt a surge of camaraderie and determination. They were all in this together, united by a common goal. Zack knew that he couldn't let them down. As the whistle blew, signaling the start of the match, Zack's nerves threatened to consume him. The sound was sharp and piercing, cutting through the noise of the crowd and the chatter of his teammates. It was a call to action, a signal that there was no turning back now. Zack's mind raced with 1,000 thoughts, but he knew he had to focus. He had to channel his nerves into energy, using them to fuel his performance on the field. But he took a deep breath, remembering his grandfather's words, and focused on the game. His grandfather had always been his biggest supporter, offering words of wisdom and encouragement. "Stay calm, stay focused, and play with heart," he had said. Those words echoed in Zack's mind, grounding him and giving him the strength to push forward. He could do this. He had trained for this. He was ready. He played with a newfound confidence. Each movement was deliberate and precise, a testament to the countless hours he had spent honing his skills. He could feel the rhythm of the game, the ebb and flow of the action, and he moved with a grace and fluidity that surprised even himself. His teammates fed off his energy, and together they played like a well-oiled machine. Zack's confidence grew with each successful play, and he began to believe that anything was possible. His passes were crisp and accurate, finding his teammates in open space. He had an uncanny ability to read the game, anticipating the movements of his opponents and his teammates alike. Each pass was a calculated risk, a delicate balance of precision and timing. Zack reveled in the challenge, his mind working at lightning speed to stay one step ahead. His teammates trusted him, and he trusted them in return. Together they created a symphony of movement and coordination, each pass a note in a beautiful melody. He moved with a fluidity he didn't know he possessed, dodging tackles and creating scoring opportunities. And then it happened. In a moment of pure instinct, Zack received a pass just outside the penalty box. Time seemed to slow down as he controlled the ball, his mind racing with possibilities. He could hear the roar of the crowd, feel the weight of their expectations, but he blocked it all out. This was his moment, and he was determined to seize it. In a moment of pure instinct, Zack received a pass just outside the penalty box. He took a touch, looked up, and unleashed a powerful shot. The ball sailed through the air, a blur of motion and energy. Zack held his breath, his heart pounding in his chest. He could see the goalkeeper diving, arms outstretched, but he knew it was too late. The ball was destined for the back of the net. He took a touch, looked up, and unleashed a powerful shot. The ball flew with a speed and accuracy that took everyone by surprise. Zack's teammates watched in awe, their eyes wide with anticipation. The crowd held its collective breath, the tension palpable. Zack's mind was a whirlwind of thoughts and emotions, but he stayed focused on the task at hand. He had done everything right, and now it was up to fate. The ball sailed through the air and crashed into the back of the net. The stadium erupted in a deafening roar, a wave of sound that washed over Zack and his teammates. He had done it. He had scored. The feeling was indescribable, a mix of joy, relief, and triumph. His teammates rushed to him, their faces alight with celebration. Zack knew that this was just the beginning, but in that moment he allowed himself to bask in the glory of his achievement. He had proven himself and he was ready for whatever came next. Zack's first goal was met with thunderous applause from the crowd. The stadium erupted in a symphony of cheers, the kind that sends shivers down your spine and makes your heart race with excitement. It was a moment Zack had dreamed of for years, a moment that seemed almost surreal as it unfolded before his eyes. His teammates rushed towards him, their faces alight with joy and pride. They lifted him off the ground, hugging him tightly, their collective happiness palpable. It was a celebration of not just a goal, but of hard work, dedication, and the bond they shared as a team. The feeling of accomplishment was exhilarating. Zack felt a surge of adrenaline, a rush of pure, unadulterated joy. He raised his arms in triumph, basking in the glory of the moment. It was a high unlike any other, a feeling that made all the sacrifices and struggles worth it. For the first time, Zack felt like he truly belonged on the field. The doubts and insecurities that had plagued him vanished, replaced by a newfound confidence. He smiled, a genuine, heartfelt smile, knowing that he had earned his place among his peers. However, the elation of the goal was short-lived. The game continued, and the opposing team fought back with a vengeance. The tide began to turn, and Zack could feel the momentum slipping away from them. Despite Zack's best efforts, their team lost the match. The final whistle blew, and the scoreboard told a story of defeat. The weight of the loss settled heavily on Zack's shoulders, a stark contrast to the euphoria he had felt just moments before. Disappointment washed over him once more, threatening to dampen his newfound spirit. He sat on the bench, his head in his hands, replaying the game in his mind. What could he have done differently? Where had they gone wrong? As Zack walked off the field, his head hung low, his coach approached him. The coach had seen this look before, the look of a player who had given their all but still come up short. "Zack," he said, placing a hand on his shoulder, "you played a great game today." The coach's voice was calm and reassuring, a steady presence in the midst of Zack's turmoil. "You should be proud of yourself." The words were simple, but they carried a weight of sincerity. The coach's eyes met Zack's, and in that moment, Zack felt a glimmer of hope. "But we lost," Zack mumbled, his voice filled with disappointment. The sting of defeat was still fresh, and it clouded his ability to see the positives. "Yes," the coach said, "but sometimes we lose." He paused, letting the words sink in. "It's part of the game. Every loss is a lesson, an opportunity to grow and improve. It's part of the game." Zack nodded slowly, the coach's words resonating with him. He realized that every athlete, no matter how skilled, faces setbacks. It's how they respond to those setbacks that defines their journey. What matters is that you learn from your mistakes and come back stronger next time. The coach's pep talk was more than just words. It was a reminder that resilience and perseverance are key to success. Zack took a deep breath, feeling a renewed sense of determination. He knew that this loss was not the end, but rather a stepping stone on his path to greatness.
אני זק, אמיץ לא מפחד מכלום, צועד קדימה, מאיר את היום, עם אומץ וכוח דבר לא עוצר, כל יום הרפתקה, כל רגע זוהר. אני כאן לבעוט ולשוג כל ברק, אין בי פחד, רק אש מתגלגלת בעולם מלא נשים בשחור לבן. אני מראה לים את האור כולם. כשהשמש שוקעת והכוכבים נוצצים, השנבים הקסומים שלי יודעים הדרך אל העולמות האלה שאחרים שוכחים. אני חולם בגדול כי אף פעם לא מפחד. אני כאן לבעוט ולשוק כל ברק, אין בי פחד, רק את האור כולם. בין הרוחות והסערות בלב הים אני שולף חרב ושובר מחסום. העולם שלי זה כל מה שבלב. אני זוג אמיץ, לא יכול להיעלם. אני כאן לבעוט ולשאול כל ברק, אין בי פחד, רק יש מתגלגלת בעולם מלא נשים בשחור לבן. אני מראה להם את האור כולם.
زاك الشجاع موسيقى مليئة بالحيوية والمغامرة. أنا زاك الشجاع لا أخشى شيئا، في درب الأحلام أمضي وأضيء الطريق بالشجاعة والقوة. لا شيء يوقفني، كل يوم مغامرة، كل لحظة توثيق. هيا انطلق لا تتردد أبدا، الحياة مغامرة عيشها للأبد. واجه الخوف حلق عليا، زاك الشجاع دوما في القمة. أقفز أركض لا شيء مستحيل، أحلامي كبيرة وهدفي نبيل. مع الأصدقاء نحقق المعجزات، لا نعرف المستحيل نصنع الذكريات. هيا انطلق لا تتردد أبدا، الحياة مغامرة عيشها للأبد. واجه الخوف حلق عليا، زاك الشجاع دوما في القمة. هيا انطلق لا تتردد أبدا، الحياة مغامرة عيشها للأبد. واجه الخوف حلق عليا، زاك الشجاع دوما في القمة. أقفز أركض لا شيء مستحيل، أحلامي كبيرة وهدفي نبيل. مع الأصدقاء نحقق المعجزات، لا نعرف المستحيل نصنع الذكريات. هيا انطلق لا تتردد أبدا، الحياة مغامرة عيشها للأبد. واجه الخوف حلق عليا، زاك الشجاع دوما في القمة. موسيقى حماسية، أصوات مغامرات وضحكات. المستقبل أمامي، لا شيء يعيقني، الإسراع شعاري والمجد طريقي. أنا زاك الشجاع، لن أتراجع أبدا. بالعزيمة والإيمان سأحقق حلمي.